Oh, okay. Yes, everybody, how are you guys doing? My name is Dr. Chidi. I'm reaching you guys from Toronto, Canada. How you all doing? Good to have you on our show today. Today promises to be a very, very interesting one, very, very, very adventurous and very exciting. I can tell you that you can take it to the bank. What I want you to do, because I don't just want to start this program with just a few people, so you're going to do me a favor. You that are already here, thank you for joining us, but we can't enjoy this alone. You need to pause, you need to click on the share button, and you need to post this video. Tell people that we already started, because we spread this around everywhere, and we're transmitting on about 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we're transmitting on 9 platforms as I speak to you. We're on my page, we're on Worship Media, we're on Take It Back Movement. Actually, I need to add one more. But while that is going on, please go ahead and share this video and let people come in. Invite people. You need to let them know, because today all your questions will be answered. All those questions, those nagging questions you keep asking, oh, Chidi, why this, why that? The person that I have today on the show is going to touch all of those things, and they are going to answer your questions. So please do me a favor and make sure that you share this video. And all of you who are our repeat offenders, that's how I always call you. You're a repeat offender on this show. I really want to thank you, and I want to welcome you. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, do everything that you do when you're on a social media platform. Today, like I promised, is going to be super. I already see some of you, Dauda Ogundega, Ojo Eborime. I see you, Anita Sunday. Good evening to you. Good evening, everybody. Yes. Dauda says he's waiting. Yes, you need to wait, because my guest is worth waiting for. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. A lot of you give feedbacks to the Sowore Magashi campaign. Say, oh, you people should do something like this, do something like this. And we listen. The reason why I say we is because I belong to this family. Yes, I have a show, but you guys know where I pitch my tent. I pitch my tent with the Moyle Show, so I know where I belong. So you spoke to us and said you should do things like this, do things like this. Well, we listened. And finally, we did what you asked us to do. So I see that people are beginning to join in. You guys can go and rewind and watch this. I'm not going to wait anymore. So without wasting your time further, I'm going to bring someone that I have a lot of respect for him, because he's a sharp shooter. He just shoots straight. He's somebody that knows his onions, somebody who is not shy of the camera, neither is he afraid of the microphone. I'm talking about no other person than Mr. Onyinye Gandhi. Gandhi, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chidi, and thanks for having me.
Yes, it's actually my pleasure. I've been wanting to have you on my show. The last time I saw you interview Omoyele Sowore, but I never got to happen. So I consider it a privilege to have you on my show today. So you are very, very welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Gandhi, when I saw that there was a spokesperson for the Sowore Magashi campaign, I was excited, because Sowore tweeted it, posted it on his Facebook. I'm like, I just felt good. They always yell us. They say, you people are solidarity people. You people are rascals. But when I saw that we have a spokesperson, and then I wanted to know who this person was, and then I saw that it was you, I was like, this show is bad. How did he drag this big fish into our net? So with all that excitement, I want to welcome you on behalf of everybody who believes in Omoyele Sowore, on behalf of everybody who finds Omoyele Sowore to be a leader and a trustworthy comrade. I want to welcome you into this family. Not that you're a stranger, but I want to officially welcome you.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's a pleasure, quite frankly, And I'm going to wait for your questions, but I guess I should just say that Omoyele Sowore is someone I've known for quite a while. And, we just thought we couldn't stay on the sidelines forever while he continued to make the push. And so this is for us is our contribution to the very important cause of redeeming uh, Nigeria for the sake of our people. So I was very delighted when I was invited to join the campaign, and we're going to do our best to see that we do right by our people.
All right, Gandhi, let's get a little bit serious here. Who are you? Who is Gandhi?
All right. My name is Onyinyechi Chukwunyere. The Gandhi there, I am from Ekwarazu in Ahia-Zumbise local government area of Imo State. I was born in Ile-Ife, Osun State. I was brought up in Warri, Delta State, the heart of the Niger Delta. My family actually still lives there today, to this day rather. I went back to Ile-Ife for my university education at the Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife, where I played very active roles in the student movement. And that's where I got the moniker Gandhi. And of course, as we continue to engage, I'm sure I'll have the opportunity to discuss one or two things surrounding that name. But that's how it started. It was like a political name. I think there were arguments that usually when I made presentations, even though they had the force of an atomic bomb, they were presented with the subtlety of a dove. So that name gained traction. That was one explanation. The other explanation was that my Yoruba brothers and sisters found it a little bit difficult to pronounce Chukwunya, and they would always massacre that name. So Gandhi came to the rescue. It was very easy for them to pronounce. Then I went to the north for part of my legal education. I studied law in Ife. I went to Kano State for part of my legal education, spent some time there, and then finished that in Bios, Yenagoa, where actually my set was the pioneer set of the Nigerian Law School in Yenagoa. Now I practiced law for quite a while. While in school, I was because of our participation in the student movement, I was a victim of administrative vengeance, if you will, the serial abuse of power that happens across institutions in Nigeria. I finished my program in 2008. The management refused to mobilize me for the Nigerian law school. I had to spend another 2 years outside the system before I was eventually reintegrated because the students at school kept fighting. So that was 2 years lost. But again, for us, it's always an ideological question. It was 2 years that I spent in personal development, entrenching myself in the core issues of activism within the Niger Delta, where I retreated after I left Ife. So when I finished at the law school, I went back there because transitioning from activism in Ife and then moving into the larger society was very exciting because all the preparations you were making as a student leader, now you had the opportunity to make direct interventions on behalf of your people. And the very first thing that struck me was the impunity with which the oil companies, in collusion with the Nigerian government, were destroying the environment in the Delta. And most of the communities that I, experienced while growing up, where fish was cheaper than bread. And regardless of how poor you were, you could always go to the stream and get fish. And I grew up quite poor. So you could always go to the stream, get fish and eat. These companies had destroyed this, and the government was essentially colluding in that. So we delved directly into that action. We fought the government both in the courts and on the streets using the media. And there was significant backlash. I got, threatened, I got harassed, I got attacked. My house was invaded by unknown elements, because to this day, nobody has claimed responsibility for that. And when the heat became so much, and some of my colleagues were killed on their way to court, and
Wow.
that's a story I would present perhaps some other day. But when some of my colleagues were sorry, are you still with me?
Yeah. We're with you. I just put
Okay,
you on solo. Yeah, go
all
ahead.
right. When some of my colleagues were killed, they were assassinated on their way to court, and I was physically assaulted at the police station, and a policeman threatened to shoot me in the course of defending our people. Uh, I figured it was time to, you know, double my own tools, because I hate fighting from a position of weakness, you know. So I applied to study for a master's program outside to, add to my wealth of knowledge. And then I moved to the University of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, here in the United States, where I got a master's in international political economy. I also got an associate degree in global studies and another one in African studies. And from 2014, when I left Nigeria to this point, much of what I've been doing, in addition to activism and intervening on behalf of our people, is to build that intellectual armada that I think will be not just that, but also the network, the connections, the relationships, I think will be very important in the task of intervening in Nigeria. I actually undertook a personal study of the path to power. And the interview you saw with Omoyele Sowore was, one of the avenues where I thought to extract questions based on that study that I was making. And if there is a time, I am convinced that we're ready to put into practice everything that we've been learning, all the preparations that we've been making over these years. Now is that time. So, in a nutshell, that is who I am. I am a Nigerian who has seen the country, in all its glory and in all its dirt. I know our people. The Nigerian people are different from the Nigerian state. I have lived everywhere. I am born to parents from the southeast, Igbo. But again, I was born in the southwest, and most of my connections are from that area. But I also grew up in the Niger Delta, where I have, tremendous family. And then, of course, I've encountered our brothers and sisters in the north, the middle belts, and all across. So I am, if you like, the quintessential Nigerian. I am a complete representation of, every nook and cranny of the Nigerian state, and that is why. When we speak about our people, we speak with so much passion. We try to draw a difference between the Nigerian state as it is presently constituted and the Nigerian people. And we're trying to create for the Nigerian people, in partnership with them, a nation which they've never had since our independence. That is who I am. I hope I was able to get across with that brief explanation, hopefully. Thank you.
Gandhi, you did a very good job, and that's why it's very important that we're having this kind of conversation. We are in a place in our country where it's not business as usual. This is a time when anybody that knows their onions should rise up to the occasion. So, hearing what you're saying, just listening to you, in the advert, I had said I could listen to you for 3 hours. But even actually listening to you right now, it's like music to my ears. Because here I see an Igbo man who is an area boy, area as in Wafi guy. Then this is an Omo Eko, Omo Ife person. And this is a real, which one now will I use for Northern Nigeria? You are a real all-rounder. No wonder Omoyele showed, because I was wondering, what is it that Sowore saw in this guy that will make Sowore pick him? But Sowore is very, very picky. Very, and he, you know, he's a master shocker. He just shocks you. And that's why I had to bring you here to listen for myself. I didn't send you any questions. You
You
notice
did.
I didn't prepare you because I had to learn. I had to see for myself. But let me ask you, why Sowore? Why would you pitch your tent with Omoyele Sowore after you've been, in a nutshell, you've just gone round the country, you've seen it all, you've been there, done that, and you even took it outside the country. So you are like well rounded. But why, amongst all of these people, why Omoyele Sowore?
Well, for us, leadership is ideological. We believe that for you to fix problems in any geopolity, you need a framework. That framework is built on ideas. It is those ideas that will transform that society and start to instill the sort of change that you would like to see. Now, Omoyele Sowore has been speaking to those ideas for almost 3 decades, uh, as a student activist, as a citizen journalist, and now as an aspiring political leader. That consistency is one I respect. He has never wavered. Now, it has to be pointed out that most of the things the other candidates are running with today, cutting the cost of governance, fighting corruption, institutionally, using technological tools and modern thinking and strategies, instilling the dignity and pride of every Nigerian within the fabric of governance of the Nigerian system, so that you don't have law enforcement agents or military officers seeing it as within their rights to bully the ordinary Nigerian person. All these things that these candidates are running around with today are issues that Sowore has been speaking to for more than 3 decades, and I've been watching that. I mean, his generation preceded mine in the student movement. And it was, for me, very humbling to see that across the years, he has remained consistent. And he doesn't really have to. Again, as a product of the student movement, I know a lot of, the people we used to call comrades who are now on the other side. I mean, if he decides today, or if he decided a few years ago that he wanted to join the establishment and live, a very good life at the expense of the Nigerian people, it would have been a very easy decision, but he held on. And he has done so with the utmost difficulty, because the principalities in Nigeria do not play the politics of civility. They only advocate civility when they are on the receiving end of, a very tough strategy. But when they control the levers, civility is foreign to them. So with all the bullying, all the attacks, all the incarceration attempts to literally subjugate the man using the institutions of state, he has remained steadfast to the cause. That is what we respect. And when I had personal conversations with him, I also saw that for him, principle was important, but he was also tactically flexible. He knew that certain things, had to be done if you wanted to rescue our people. He was willing to put together the framework of a political party rather than continue to shout from outside, continue to write newsletters, hold agitations, fight from the barricades, which are all important. But he also understood that direct political intervention using the existing structures, was a necessity. Now, he went after that with all his heart, and today we have the African Action Congress. Now, that is a man you respect. And when he came calling, now, by the way, I have to point out that even before we spoke, even before we had our very first word, in 2019, when he was, that was 2020, I believe, after the 2019 elections, when he was leading the Revolution Now movement, and he was arrested and incarcerated, I had to lead a movement here in the United States, a protest to push for his release. And the decision to lead that beyond the fact that, as a person of conscience, as a fighter, an activist, a humanist, I would ordinarily be pushed to try and make those interventions. But I was particularly buoyed by his persona. And it felt like this man who, even though he was speaking for, were yet to acknowledge that he was speaking for them, could not be allowed to rot behind bars. Somebody has to speak for him. And, we led that movement and, approached the State Department, pushed the Nigerian embassies, did a couple of things at other embassies around the world. And in collaboration with a whole lot of Nigerians around the world, that campaign was effective. And he was eventually released. And when he came out, I was one of the first people he called to express his gratitude. And the humility was also infectious. So again, we discussed at that time the necessity to take the campaign beyond the fringes of barricade politics. We needed to get directly involved, use the structures the system has built to expose the system and contest for power, regardless of the disadvantages that are inherent. And so, in a nutshell, all those conversations, all those plans eventually metamorphosed into the position I'm holding today, because I want to contribute my quota to the movement that he's leading, a movement that I think will give the Nigerian people a new deal.
Thank you, Onye. Now, you have seen Sowore, you have known Sowore, and I've heard people say when they want to criticize his resume, they always say, "Oh, your students' union president. If this was a students' union government campaign, I will vote for you." But what is it that you are bringing on the table that should make us give you a chance to lead this country? In your own words, what do you think? What is that thing that you think the Nigerian public, the citizens of Nigeria as a country, should know that will make them be willing to entrust the future of Nigeria into Sowore's hand? Because Nigeria is at the point where the ship is sinking and we have run out of options. We are in a place where we cannot gamble anymore. We have to get it right. To whoever we are going to hand over Nigeria into their hands has to be somebody that the margin of error has to be very, very little. So what are those things that you believe Sowore has that makes him the best person for this job right now in Nigeria?
Well, first of all, the perception that Omoyele Sowore is a student activist indefinitely, meaning he cannot transition from his role as a leader in the student movement into leadership within the Nigerian state, has been a myth perpetuated by the mainstream media in Nigeria for obvious reasons. Now, in the last interview I had on this subject, I carefully explained that it is not so much the person of Sowore or his role in the student movement that these individuals have a problem with. It is what they know he will do when he gets the levers of power. That's why you're seeing that narrative that is being perpetuated. And I also explained that majority of the Nigerian people, quite frankly, if you took a scientific polling, you're not going to hear that a lot. I mean, while people have these views that yes, form coalitions, try to beef up your approach to access to power, many of them will very easily concede to you that his competence, his commitment, his integrity, his honesty, his determination, are not in doubt. So I wanted to address that head on. That is a false narrative perpetrated from certain quarters, which we're battling, to completely dismantle. And we're going to dismantle it in a short. I think the Nigerian people are starting to listen to us. That's number one. Number two, you need an activist president. Omoyele Sowore, the history that he brings, the history of dogged intervention on behalf of the people, even when his own skin is not in the game, a history of determined pursuit of the principles that will see our people free, a history of a commitment to the ideals of democracy, the rule of law, economic and social justice, the fundamental rights of the Nigerian people, the dignity of the Nigerian man, woman, and child. You are going to get that from him. That is something he brings to the table. You need an activist president. The country is a mess. Everybody agrees to that, quite frankly. Everybody knows that Nigeria right now is a travesty to the Nigerian people. It's not running like a normal place. It is hell on earth. The Nigerian people know this. Those who have arrogated to themselves the powers to govern the Nigerian state, they know this. They know that they are not going to change. They are unwilling to change. They are not going to willingly do the things that are needed to ensure that the people begin to enjoy the blessings on our land. So the only person who will be willing to step on toes, who will be willing to go the extra mile, to push the envelope, to do the hard work, to make the tough decisions, to dismantle principalities, if you will, to challenge the oligarchic establishment whose wealth is maintained with the poverty of the Nigerian people, who will not be afraid to call people out, to collect from those who have stolen the collective patrimony of our people, is Omoyele Sowore. It is that his activist tradition that makes him far more qualified than any other candidate in the field. It is that his activist tradition that would inspire confidence in the Nigerian when Sowore tells you that he's going to flush ragtag terrorists from within our land so that you can sleep with both of your eyes closed, because you know that he has no contractor general or businessman general to pander to. He has no established godfather anywhere in the country to go and bow down before or take instructions from. His primary concern will be the welfare, the security, the protection, the prosperity of the Nigerian people. So we make the argument that while the media, to a very large extent, seek to paint Sowore as that activist who could never become a leader, that those qualities that they have admitted, because they have not said he's a bad activist, they have not said he's an insincere activist, they have not said that he's dishonest, they have said that he is too committed. Their problem is that he is too passionate. And we are now arguing that it is that passion that you need to fix the country. The country cannot work under the current arrangement. The country cannot work using a framework handed down by those who destroyed it. And while we are very civil, we're very respectful, as I've explained, we are immersed in the cultures of our people. We understand the language of respect. And while we do all of this, we also know that pandering will not help our people. Kowtowing to the powers that be, playing a good boy, just so that some polished elite politician will like you, it's not what our people need. So we give it to them straight. And that is what Sowore brings to the table. So he's the leader that you need. He's the leader that Nigeria needs. His passion is the reason why he will never waver. He will flush corruption from our land. I mean, I've had conversations with him. We've talked about strategies on how to get that done. These individuals who push these narratives are not representative of the majority of our people. I just have to get that off the front. They are in the minority. And as we are taking our message directly to our people, they're starting to see that the blackmail that he is an activist and can be a true leader is actually disingenuous. The truth, the correct narrative is that he is that activist whose entry into power is going to transform the way the Nigerian people live their lives. We have said that we are non-conformist. We are bringing an unconventional approach to leadership. It is that unconventional approach that will fix the country. And that is what makes Omoyele Sowore the most qualified of every other candidate. Everybody in the fold has repeated. In fact, in the APC, for example, in an ideal situation, they shouldn't be running in elections because part of their campaign issue is that they want to fix the mess that they have made. The current presidential candidate is campaigning that he's going to rescue the country from the mess, the pit the incumbent APC president has thrown the nation into. The PDP, on the other hand, Mr. Atiku has been playing political football with the Nigerian people for more than 30 years. For him, it's a question of ambition. When he had the opportunity to help us to fix our lives, to enthrone the Nigerian man, woman, and child, he made the very questionable decision to auction off our national patrimony, sell off our property, and he became stupendously wealthy alongside his cronies off of that, alongside, or rather, together with the man who was president at the time. And all the other candidates in the fold literally mirror the PDP and the APC. They want to be good boys. They want to have respect. They want to dobale. They want to do all of this. And we say, no, the Nigerian people do not need that. We will respect you. There's no problem. This is not a personal question. But when it comes to the defense of the interests of our people, when it comes to keeping them safe, educating them, putting food on their table, giving them employment, making sure that no terrorist crosses our borders and goes to their places of worship to slaughter them, we are going to be uncompromising. And when it comes to taking back what belongs to them, so that their lives will be enriched, not the lives of some, narrow elite somewhere in Abuja or Lagos or Port Harcourt, we are not going to be respectful. Our only respect is to the people of Nigeria. Omoyele Sowore's only recognition, really, the only godfathers and godmothers he has are the people of our country, and it is to them that we are beholden, and we have no apologies about that.
Wow. Okay, Mr. Sowore. Sorry, I mean, Mr.
Maybe I was sounding like him, right?
You see, you know why it's interesting is because I've heard people say, you guys, he just presents Sowore. It's only Sowore. Everything that Sowore is going to do is in his head, and then I'm here listening to you talk, and it's like you are just like, you understand this man's vision, you understand his passion. You can okay, no wonder why you're the spokesperson for this campaign. But let me ask you, what is the confidence? Because a couple of months ago, when Sowore came into the scene, when everybody had given up hope because the AAC as a party was in the hands of the people who, in collusion with the state, had hijacked the party. Sowore was restricted to Abuja, so he didn't even have a chance to move out of Abuja to go and campaign. Sowore was still denied the access to his family abroad. He couldn't leave the Nigerian shores. And with all of this, he had so many cases in court. Well, with all of this against him, he was also restricted through his bail conditions from speaking to the press, holding so many things. With all that hanging on him, Sowore declared for presidency. And shortly afterwards, we had all of these other parties doing their big ceremonies, enveloping the media space with their campaign and all of that. and their movements. But I hear you speaking confidently. Like, I want to know where this is coming from. What tell us what is the focus of your principal and your political platform? What is their focus for tomorrow that gives you this kind of confidence? You're not speaking like somebody who, you're not speaking from a position of, oh, we're just trying. I see you just, it's like there's so much that is still somewhere. So I want you, what is your perception about the future? Where are you planning to take your campaign and to take Nigerians?
Well, and thank you for this question. It's very important because a lot of people do not understand that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Um, if we seem confident, overly confident for that matter, it is because we think we have the right message for the Nigerian people. We believe that we are the best representatives of the ideals that will transform the country and give our people a better life. And we think that more than anybody else, we're more equipped, more determined to deliver that message. And it doesn't matter how long it takes for that message to permeate. We're going to be consistent. We're going to remain determined. And more importantly, and this is the juice, we have seen through our work on the field that the Nigerian people are receptive to this message. Contrary to the misrepresentations in the media that we are some sort of fringe political party made up of hot-headed radicals, the Nigerian people see us, they listen to the things we have to say, and they properly identify us that this here is the platform that can give us the life that we desire. For us, as a party, we have always said it's not personal. And I've told some other media platforms that, look, for our candidate, for example, if it were just about the good life, he has done very well for himself. I mean, while I was describing his person, I forgot to mention that he's also an inventor. He literally, as you very well know, pioneered the field of citizen journalism. And the Sahara Reporters is one of the most outstanding successes in that field anywhere in the world. I mean, we've had people here in the advanced Western countries copying that model. So that has to be said. But our confidence and our projection for the future is that we are the party to beat. Look at our programs. The current set of programs, although we are updating them with current numbers, but they still speak to the same issues bedeviling the Nigerian state. All of the other political parties are struggling to get a manifesto. For some of them, even when you ask for simple questions about how to address simple problems, specifics, all right, they beat about the bush. We have a comprehensive program on education. We have a comprehensive program on the economy, and I'm going to buttress all of these, or rather detail them as we continue here. We have a comprehensive program to revamp agriculture. We have a comprehensive program to protect our territory and secure Nigerian lives. We have a comprehensive program to restructure the country and put it on a pedestal for progress. We have a comprehensive program to advance the rule of law and deepen democracy. We have a comprehensive program to make the Nigerian people, to transfer ownership of the Nigerian space to the Nigerian people. And it is the extent of this program and our belief in their ability to transform our society that it is in these programs that we draw our strength, or that we draw our confidence rather. And it is because of the correctness of these programs that we are confident to forecast that we will be the party to beat. In 2023, we're running to win the election. You mentioned how our candidate was hounded, attacked. It was actually strategic. I mean, you could say anything you want about the incompetence of those governing Nigeria. One of the things you can't take away from them is they know how to fight their enemies. Now, remember, the same people who say we are fringe activists who can't win a general election, they were the same persons who took a strategic abuse of state institutions to attack candidate Sowore, take him out of circulation, kept our political organization busy trying to get him out, which affected our ability to expand our structures and prepare for the current elections. But in a remarkable demonstration of what we're capable of and the sort of creativity, resolve that we're going to bring to tackling the problems of the Nigerian people, a few months after we secured his release and fought to gain back our party, which they tried to hijack, we're running in the presidential elections. They thought we could not run, but we're running. Now, not only are we running, our own internal polling shows that we're doing very well with the Nigerian people across the 6 geopolitical zones. And in the coming period, as the open campaign season comes, you're going to see exactly what the Nigerian people, and many of those who have doubted our commitment to this cause, are going to be shocked at how deep our message has gotten. And the millions of Nigerians who are going to turn out to queue behind the African Action Congress as the only platform for true change for Nigeria. So that is why we're confident. We have the programs, we have the candidate, and beyond Sowore, who is our presidential candidate, we have over 200 other candidates running for offices across the country. Chidi, this is remarkable. As I said, we are perhaps the only political organization that will go through such a crucible and will still emerge with a swag, step into the fray, and seek to challenge the established authorities who are abusing those powers to push us out, and then offer the Nigerian people something better. And we take from our travails pride and lessons that when we get to power, the sufferings we endured on our way there in defense of our people will strengthen our resolve to not look back as we effect change. So we have the programs in a nutshell. Our programs, inspires, our platform inspires the justice of our positions, give us confidence for the future.
Thank you so much, Onyinye. You see, when I hear you speak, you also inspire confidence in me, and you inspire hope in the people who believe in the AAC and who believe in Omoyele Sowore. Because this is a time when there is so much bombardment out there in the social media space, in the online space, even in the mainstream media, that is designed and calculated to just demoralize people and make them think that there is no hope. One thing you said that is very, very inspiring and it is unique about Omoyele Sowore and the African Action Congress is that we don't run away from challenges. Omoyele Sowore, he stays with his problem. Yes, this challenge has come to me. This is my problem. He doesn't go looking for a godfather. He doesn't go look. He stays, and the fact that Omoyele Sowore's party was stolen from him, and only few days, I think it was 4 days to the deadline for INEC, that was when we got the party back. Other candidates would have run into another party to go and stay there and contest. But he said, no, this is my problem. I will stay and solve that problem. That is an assurance to me that he will stay by the Nigerian people and solve our problem with our own tools. Unlike some people who will travel outside Nigeria to go and sit and do a meeting about how to solve the problem in Nigeria. That is very ridiculous, honestly. Now, we're going to go and talk about the plans that the party has for the Nigerian public, for the Nigerian citizens, and what Omoyele Sowore himself plans that he has for the Nigerian public. But before we say that, people have always tackled me with this idea that, Omoyele Sowore is too radical. What we need now is a methodology that allows us to go. Somebody actually said we need somebody who is a bridge between the young and the new. I mean, between the old and the young. So we need to go and sit with the old people and, massage their ego and be with them and learn from them so that we can now transition into the new. I don't know what you think about that. And I need you to now tell me what plans AAC as a party and Omoyele Sowore as a candidate has as against these people that think we left something in our yesterday that we have to go and carry along. Please go ahead.
All right, there is no transition from the old to the new. As we see it, the old has failed. It has to be abandoned. Our approach is simple. And look, as we continue, you're going to hear me say a lot that we make no apologies. And that is coming from a place of conviction. We have the courage of our conviction to push for the change we want. And in doing that, we do not have our eyes at the back. The old has failed us, Dr. Chidi. You see, our nation is blessed. Look at it from anywhere you want. Is it human capital? Is it natural resources? Is it the population, which is one of the greatest assets in contemporary economics when you're looking at the wealth of nations? As a matter of fact, some countries envy us because of how large our market is. Is it the youthfulness of that population? More than 60% of them are between the ages of 14 to 35. That's very young. That's the energy you need to build an economy. Is it our weather? Tropical, temperate, beautiful environment to grow literally any crop you want. Is it our people? Their sense of enterprise, their confidence, their creativity. What is it that we do not have? We should be the embodiment of everything every Black person in this world aspires to. We should be their, when they look to Nigeria, they should have a reinforcement of their pride in their Africanness. But the old failed to use these things to give our people a better deal. Rather, the old and all those who represent the old, they pushed us deeper into poverty. We've been mining crude oil since before our independence. Today, we cannot refine. Very, very important to understand the absurdity of a country with immense potential of Nigeria, humongous wealth, can't refine its oil, has to sell raw crude to some other country and then import a finished product. An economic anomaly that has dislocated the lives of our people because since our infrastructure is still basic, most things run on petrol, that fundamental skew is the reason why poverty is astronomical. And we're going to go into that as we break down, the economics of these terrible policies that they've played. But the old has failed. They have failed to unite our people. We fought a brutal civil war. It was a fratricidal war, a war amongst brothers. And when it ended, they had the responsibility to rebuild, reunite the country, and set the nation on a path to progress. They didn't do that. They kept on playing divisive and primitive politics. Those who saw themselves as winners in that war, carved out juicy chunks of the country for themselves. And they're actually the richest people in the land today. They still continue to dominate politics and economy. When they have problems amongst themselves, and I'm speaking to the old specifically, and I'm essentially trying to explain why we are abandoning the old. We're not transitioning. There is no transition. It's an abandonment. It has failed. You do not transition from a sinking ship into the rescue ship. You jump. That's what you do. You jump. That's why it's an abandonment. Now, when their other calculations fail, they take advantage of the religious and ethnic divisions amongst our people, which ordinarily should be a source of strength. They ignite these, divisive flames, and they seek to tear our people asunder. Today, in Nigeria, you're still talking about the origin, the ethnic origin of the president. The nation is more than 60 years old. We're not talking of what he can do, what's in his program. For some of the candidates, we haven't even seen their programs. But the most important determinant, as some elements have explained, is where they are from. So that tells you that the template, the old, applied to bring us to where we are today, the poverty capital of the world. Over 100 million of our people live below $2 a day. Infrastructure, completely off, totally off. As a matter of fact, when politicians in Nigeria put in place basic infrastructure with public resources, they put up very expensive billboards for themselves to celebrate their accomplishments. That is the mindset. Public money, public facility, and then the man whose job, who actually was getting paid, all right, he was getting paid to do that job. Now,
like he donated it to the
like he donated it from his purse. Yeah, that we should clap for him. He wants us to applaud him.
Yes.
All right, that is the mentality that these individuals have built into our people. And despite that, you still see the massive gap, the massive infrastructural gap. Nigerian engineers in 2022 are still considered incapable of conceiving a roadmap for Nigeria's infrastructural development. We now have to take second-rate Chinese coaches, and then we're celebrating those second-rate Chinese coaches as the revolution of Nigerian rail system. On security, we've never been more insecure since the end of the Civil War. You saw a few weeks ago terrorists, quite frankly. These are individuals who have some sort of political agenda. And when I speak of terrorism and criminality, I don't mention ethnicity, please. I don't care where these individuals are from. What is important is that no individual should feel very confident to pluck a Nigerian off the street. They don't born you well. They don't born you well. That you are very confident you have an AK-47 and you are driven by some funny ideology. And you are going to come into the Nigerian state and make the Nigerian people unsafe. Take sleep away from their eyes. They can't travel their roads. They can't worship in their churches, in their mosques. They can't go to, our children in the north can't go to schools. That you are who, Kwani? Who are you? Who are, how many heads do you have? And that's why we said that we will flush you. Look, we are coming for you. We don't negotiate with the terrorists. Nigerian territory belongs to the people of Nigeria. Any criminal, wherever he is from, the east, the west, the north, the south, you are going to be dealt with the full force of the Nigerian people, backed up by the Nigerian military, who must draw its legitimacy and force from the people themselves. They are the final repository. Sorry if I got a little bit carried away, but that's the point on security.
See, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something here. You see, that's one thing about us. And when I say us, I mean the African Action Congress, the movements that we have. And see, we know that there are wannabes. We know that there are cloned versions of what we are, but we have that passion that it takes. So I was even going to ask you, because when people see you dressed up, looking sharp, and all of that, they are wondering, how these people, they speak English like this? These people feel come down to our level. I was even going to ask you that just for the sake of some of our people who are wondering, come now, wow, like say all these people waiting this party now, this guy be being that, do you even understand our people down to the the underground, like the basic level? Can you speak their language? Can you relate? Can you, like, bros, can you relate on that level? So you can even start flowing from now on that level, because let's say we don't
The
speak too much English.
the English where would they speak? The English where would they speak now packaging, and that is because it is called lingua franca.
Uh-huh.
We and our people now one would be. Look, I be worry boy. Now worry boy, I be. There's no pretense about it.
Area.
Now fish and gari I chop when I dey grow up. We don't dey fear anybody, my guy. We don't dey fear anybody. All right, we wait to be our own, our own.
Abba.
If you say you want chop us, we go chop your full family.
People go enter Abuja.
You carry
Block
AK-47,
road.
carry some very funny tools. You can't enter our country. Can't enter the city. In fact, you finish the other communities. You can't enter the seat of power. You can't even fight to control the entire place. And people they look you. People they negotiate with you. People they give you bribe. They try beg you. May you calm down. Guy, make I tell you now. We don't beg people. Look, nobody get to it though. Nobody get to it. The more when you cook, you go chop and you go full your belly. You know, our people say if you cook for the community, we go chop all your food, break your plate. You know, go reach. But when we gather cook for you, guy, you don't go finish one plate.
No, you can't.
One plate, say you not go fit chop. So all these terrorists where they jump up and down, where they are now, in fact, some of them say they now dictate terms of negotiations. Now they can't tell our government what the government won't do. And when they finish dictating this time, they go get their own part of the terms. They're not going to yield anything to the government. Now failure be that complete collapse. Like the guys when they do this thing, they don't fuck up big time. For Warri where I did grow up, for this guy that big effort it is. They're supposed to use slippers, flog them for nyash. So for us, really, we are one with our people. The language now means of communication now based on saying now what they don't put me with it. And it's quite frankly one of the things where we go review. You see, Doc, you are an accomplished intellectual. You know the importance of your native tongue to transferring knowledge to future generations. The Chinese, have shown how effective that is. Which of our textbooks where we teach our children, which of them they write for our language? All these textbooks where our children they reach out, because our people, because of the characters where they govern us, people will not even get self-confidence for themselves. If they see you, they're gonna run like a butterfly. Like people will not get base, we don't get self-respect. Anything where you both tell that they go carry and go implement them like that. They don't know say our people get their own system where we go feel organized. Take solve our problems. There's nothing special. Now the hard work, you get the mind to serve the public. That's the primary question. Now service you won't come render, I mean that money you won't come chop. Because for many years now, many of them have money they won't come chop. Now those of us where we don't decide now, say we want just to for that place, we want shook our head put for that, we want see what's in the inside there. All right, we are coming with a completely new template. And when I speak on our plans in the educational sector, you will see our children will learn science in our native tongue.
Let's even go there. See, Gandhi, make I tell you something. Now that you're talking about education, I used to still be shocked that in our curriculum today, nobody has been bold enough to change the fact that Mongo Park discovered River Niger. The same river we pass and southeast go down to south. Nobody has changed that. Do you know we are still teaching our people still use book that has apples in it. A child in my village, Ozala, in Enugu State, what business do they have with Apple? Except, you know, when they say Apple, that is big. So,
Udara, na, you know, Udara, mango.
orange. You know, it's like when you go to Okechukwu and you say, Okechukwu, 2x times x5. Tell me the result of x. Okay, she says, nah, one me feel like, nah, I don't understand. Nah, say, okay, Chukwu, come. 2,000. That's 2,000 minus 3,000.
He gonna give you the answer straight. He gonna give you the answer straight.
You understand? So
because he can relate.
You understand? So it will be interesting to know some of the innovations that AAC is proposing for our people in the area of education. So that let them know that we are aware of, and we have the confidence and the wherewithal, the willpower to do what is supposed to be done without apologies to anybody. We're not a joke.
Look, our platform is coming with an agenda to transform the Nigerian society. Now, total change, one change, one clean up everywhere.
No, man, no old and
no. Okay, this one still get one leg, keep up, but no. Now clean slates. Now they come with. Our people don't suffer rich. Yeah, they don't suffer rich. They're 60-something years now. Is long enough. 62 years now. It's long enough. It don't pay. Way few people that chop. Now that structure where they build make few people take their chop. We want scatter up. Now that structure we want scatter. And we want make the people where they enjoy from structure, they'll say we want scatter up. We know they beg. And scatter, we want scatter that structure.
Yes.
And we want make the Nigerian people know, say we want scatter that structure on their behalf. Because when we scatter that structure, everybody go chop for the better way they the country. No more politician won't come election, this thing, and I go get to that education soon. But I just built some templates around. No more politician go after you don't collect money where belong to our people. You don't starve them for 4 years. When election reach, you go pack that money, come outside, put them for Ghana must go. Carry and come polling booth. Come they bribe them, damaging their dignity, insulting them, destroying their humanity. They don't born you well. We go stop that nonsense. The Nigerian people are going to be so dignified in their confidence and composure, their self-worth, that anybody that presents 2,000 or 3,000 or 10,000 to them for votes will be stoned or publicly mauled. We are coming with a complete transformational template on education. What did they teach us? As you rightly pointed out, most of the things what I learned for primary school, what I learned for secondary school, I don't see any application for the kind of life. Well, in fact, when we be student activists for IFE, because of the attacks with the university attack us, that one I can't force us, we can't even read extra. Because we know say, if we fuck up small, they go exaggerate that small fuck up now, it will come like say we don't know book. So now that extra way we read, so that we go there sharp, we go feel the, tackle them argument for argument, and then still pass our academic work. Now it give us the edge. Other than that, the curriculum is dead. Everybody knows that. It is not fit for, contemporary developmental models around the world. The fact that I studied international political economics. Now, Pittsburgh, I go school here. For most of my stay while studying for my master's, an argument, me and my professors, they argue. And I'd always tell the point, like, all these templates when they discuss here, they can't help my people. All this rubbish when they write for paper. My grandmothers, where they creek, they fry fish. My grandfathers, where they, up north, they try scrounge where they go chop. My grandmothers and fathers, where they, the east, they try farm cassava. They don't understand all this rubbish when they write for paper here. We go design our own special template to develop our people. And it's a pro-people's template, which is going to concentrate the wealth of our country in the hands of our people, as our traditional societies have always done. the problem with the models these people have been developing, which they have transferred into everything, including education, is the individualistic Western model. Western society, you don't stay there. Me, I live there, and I've lived there for quite a while. It is not the same as our own. You know, say you fit there your house now, you fit there for like 1 full year. You and your neighbor never talk, except maybe una meet by accident for road or anything happen like that. In fact, if the person fall for ground, if you try help him, you got seek permission so that they not go say you violate. Now that individualistic, cultural sense, that is also what is transferred into the economic system. And of course, they feel I can say it don't work for them. But every attempt we have made to try it on our people has been disastrous. It don't make our people move from poorer to poorest now. And we are now saying that, no, we are not going to do that. We're not going to do that. This foreign model that they give us now, we don't accept them again. Now, completely new template that they bring. Our schools go change. Our children go to receive instruction for most of our local languages. The textbooks where they use, many of them, especially those covering transformational areas, science, technology, business, history, we go write them for local languages. We are going to commission special projects to transcribe, these very important documents to local language, so that our children, when the language where their mama talk to them, you can't beat that. There's a psychological relevance to that. Everybody knows that. When your mother tongue is the primary language of communication, every other language you grasp after that is secondary. Your level of comprehension is further enhanced if knowledge is transferred through that. Now that all these our local language now won't take the English. We know they drive and come out, but it will not be the centerpiece of our push for development. Our curriculum, all these lecturers with our universities, and for many of them, it's not their fault. As you know, we will be traditional allies with ASU.
Gandhi, sorry, I'm going to cut you here, but you see, most of the times when we propound an idea, people, because it seems to be so far from the norm, people get confused and they think it's not possible, it's not attainable. Just like when Sowore was talking about Igbo, they laughed over it. And I know you have a lot to talk about that. Now that you're talking about this transcribing, translating science, this is the first time I've heard someone talking about it, that we're going to change all of these things. Somebody just wrote in the comment box, Chidi, did you know how many languages they have in Nigeria? Yes, we communicate better in those. So I'm excited that AEC is going to, look into that and transcribe things. It's painful to me. It is painful to me that our religious books are translated into our local languages. And our churches are full with people. Our mosques are full with people. But the other countries that we look up to, who are not as religious as us, they transcribed and translated their books into scientific books into their language. But in Nigeria, we are not bothered about, we are more interested in translating the religious books into our local language, but we did not think about translating the scientific books and the things that drive technology into our own local language. And do you know why I know it's going to succeed? I have seen somebody around my house, they parked a car, all of them white people. Do you know what they were singing? Baby, calm down. No, 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 no. They don't even know what they are singing, but they're enjoying it. So we can start that revolution and end up selling it. Once you're doing well, people will copy you. So I needed to just stop you and point out that even though people think it's a far-fetched idea or an idea that will not work, look at Afrobeat today. People are singing our language that they don't even understand.
Look, it's not even far-fetched. You see, when I was in secondary school, I schooled at Hossey College in Warri. we get local languages. They teach Urobo, they teach Ishekiri, they teach Ijon or Izon language. Then they teach the Delta version of Igbo language.
Mm.
And you get choice. The one where you want pick, learn. The person where asks the question, I don't say he knows, say, despite the many languages where we get, our Bible and some of the other religious books where we get, I don't know. I know recently one of our brothers in the East transcribed the Quran into Igbo language. Yeah, but our religious books, they don't, many of them get local versions. Even when I was growing up, my parents, practicing Christians, now Igbo Bible, now they say they do money devotion for my house, And me, when I read Igbo Bible finish, I can't go carry maths textbook. I can't struggle waiting the right for inside. And I know, say, if you say that maths textbook, they write out for Igbo, or maybe they write out for Yoruba, or write out for any of the other local languages, why I don't understand. Maybe for they easier for me. So the transcription of the religious books has even given us a template. It shows it can be done. And look, we are not mandating one single language or certain specific languages across. We're providing the tools, the platform for all these languages to flourish. And a Shakiri scholar who knows that he or she is going to get support from us can, launch a research into how to get some of the, best scientific textbooks into a Shakiri language for our Shakiri children to study. An Idoma man, an Idoma scholar can do that. And we have this concentration of human resources that can take us anywhere and do anything for us that we want to achieve. If you have the political will, the competent political authority to organize them and put them to purpose. So we go down. Make that my brother no worry. Make him vote for AAC first. Make it see what you. If we not do, make it come outside, come stone us for it. Because if we not do, make I tell you, I want to my people. If we not do, now merry-go-round we go to run. Now second fiddle now we go to play. Johnny just come now we go be to some of the people who they govern the world today. We need to own our own space, and owning your own space means it is controlled by your heritage and your traditions. And a core part of your heritage and your traditions is your language. The way you like egusi soup, the way you like ogbono soup, the way you like ogo soup, the way you like amala and begiri, all those, the way you like tuwo. As you embrace not your local, now so you're supposed to embrace your local culture. When you do them like that, your development go there fast because you are growing organically. You don't copy. And this one not be say if we see good thing for the rest of the world, we'll not go copy you, but you not base all your life on copying waiting other people don't do way succeed for their own country because of their own uniqueness. You can't carry and can't put for your own country, say you won't force them on your people. The thing no can work. So it's going to be an exchange of ideas. They get one article where they read yesterday. It's actually a book on corruption on the continent. The author was observing that Nigeria is blessed, and then he added that little shade where they shade us there. That despite our humongous human and natural resources, he said we never contribute anything to. He said we never contribute much to human civilization or the development around the world. Now, what see one of our friends who write the book talk. Now Western person it be, So when I read that thing, I just laugh. Yes, the thing pain me because now it's not insult me and my people. But when I come sit back, come look am, and maybe small point there, because if we want write, now their language will take the right. If we want talk, now their language will take the talk. And there's no way we can write their own language better than them. There's no way you can present their own thing better than them. If we take mathematics now, where our ancestors, many of them don't even understand, seriously, before this day, if we write them for our own language, we think give them new insights. When they start to read Igbo mathematical texts, they see new ways of solving problems where their own language no encapsulate. And that will be a contribution of our people, our race, our culture to the human collective. So as I mean, you know that a core part of our philosophy is, Pan-Africanism. We feel that Nigeria is central to the life of the African person, and that whenever Nigeria gets them right, the rest of the continent will follow.
Gandhi,
Yes, sir.
there is so much to talk about, and I'm the kind of person who I don't like to abuse any privilege that I have. The fact that you came and you sat with us to talk to us, it's something I do not take for granted. And AAC and Omoyele Sowore is one group that knew right from time and right from the last political dispensation, they knew where they were going. They had a manifesto that they are not hiding. All the other people up to today, they have a website where they have clearly said this is their manifesto, and that, as you have said, for 2023, they are just updating it and making it relevant to the conditions we have in Nigeria, because what it was in 2018 is not what it is right now going into 2023. So I really appreciate that they have a concise and properly outlined program, for their campaign. But I'm just going to pick on 1, 2, or 3 aspects that I want you to really quickly tell us what AAC and Omoyele Sowore's plans are for those places. Number 1 is the talk about restructuring. A lot of times people have said, "Oh, Sowore is one Nigeria," so he doesn't care about local politics. And what I mean is like people who are agitating for relevance in different areas of the country. I would like you to address that issue, and then we'll come back and talk about power, and then workers' welfare in that order.
Okay. On restructuring, I think we are the only party that still has it boldly written in our manifesto. We think that the current structure of the Nigerian state is not sustainable. We think it is anti-development. We think it impoverishes our people. We think it is a facilitator of oppression and suppression and the insecurity we are seeing manifest. We think it encourages the rent extraction drive of Nigerian politicians, where no politician won't do anything serious. Everybody won't collect money from Abuja, put them for pocket chop. Politics has become the most lucrative part of life anywhere. Anybody will fail for any other sector, you could just find we rush, come contest election, try win. So that structure is not sustainable. So we are going to push and get the Nigerian state fundamentally restructured. Look, we don't pretend about the sort of politics we play. If you recall, Omoyele Sowore is the only Nigerian political figure who openly identified with the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, after he was extraordinarily renditioned from Kenya, and he was going through trials in Nigerian courts. He openly identified with him. He went to court to, help defend his rights to a free trial. And in the course of doing that, he was constantly harassed by agents of the state. As a matter of fact, in the course of that period, I think that was when his brother was assassinated along the Ore Benin Road. Now, we are, of course, very clearly for a united Nigeria, but we are not the advocates of the current unity paradigm of the Nigerian state. This you have today is not a united Nigeria. This you have today is a shaky Nigeria where the powerful few have taken that power to then force every other person, blackmail them with literal arms to remain in that, even though almost everybody is having one grievance or the other. So we recognize the local fault lines that are expressing themselves, both in the because these things are not one of the terrible atrocities the Buhari regime committed against the Nigerian people is to galvanize almost everybody else against the agitation in the Southeast, so that everybody now felt that the agitation in the Southeast was Nigeria's primary security problem, while terrorists were busy, making advances up north. We know that our people, when they are dissatisfied with the political configuration, when they are not getting a fair deal in the entity that they call home, that they belong to, will express, that dissatisfaction in various forms. So we're going to seek to engage them. The IPOB, all other Biafran agitators, those in the Niger Delta, those in the north, we're going to give them a fundamental reason to reconnect with the Nigerian state. They feel alienated, Dr. Chidi. That is the primary reason for agitations. If you feel that your interest is not being protected in a particular entity, you are going to seek to either sabotage it or pull away from it. There is nothing difficult or extraordinarily difficult, if I could qualify it, in solving all the expressions of dissent we see in different parts of the country. And Omoyele Sowore has done that. We have also made clear that when people fight for the right to self-determination, we don't consider them criminals. We are not that barbarous. We're not tyrants and autocrats. The right to self-determination is as protected, really, as the right to life, the right to freedom of expression, the right to freedom of assembly. The fact that the likes of Buhari and Co are so invested in the Nigerian state for their own personal interest that they consider any question of its current constitution an assault on their person because they take it very personally, does not mean that that is the correct approach. We in the AAC, that's not our approach. We're going to seek to engage everybody, every Nigerian citizen, in every nook and cranny of the country who feels dissatisfied. And we are convinced that in the course of that engagement and on the strength of the programs that we are bringing, we are going to show them why it is more profitable to remain in a united Nigeria than to set for yourself a factional state that will be perhaps unviable from an economic standpoint. And even if you're going to be viable, we do think that the economic potential of the Nigerian state, a large market, enterprising people, diversity is strength. I mean, you live. You've studied a lot of Western societies. The United States has made some of the best advances it has made because of its policy of drawing talents from all over the world. We have those talents from different parts of Nigeria. I will believe that a coagulation of all of them will produce for us one of the finest societies human history would record. And that is the case we're going to make. But we are not going to demonize them. We're not going to shoot at them, except, of course, the security of other Nigerians are threatened, meaning that you move from agitation to criminality. Then, of course, naturally, one has to react. But other than that, we're going to have engagement. And we're very convinced that we're going to make our people see the reason why they should belong to a united country. So we are not, please, and that's in answer to that question. Our candidate, Omoyele Sowore, is not oblivious of the local, problems that are expressing themselves here and there. More importantly, he is actually the only candidate that has called for the Nigerian state to acknowledge the genocidal nature of the 1967 to 1970 war and tender an apology. He said that in his campaigns in 2019. He was very clear about when he was in Onitsha. He has stated that there is a trauma which our brothers and sisters from the Southeast still carry. And yes, everybody in Nigeria is suffering. We recognize that. And this is an important message. Everybody in Nigeria is suffering. We recognize that. But while the Igbo man in Onitsha continues to suffer as the poor Igbo man in Oshogbo or in Kafanchan or in Kaduna or in Sokoto, the Igbo person underwent a civil war that left a scar. We want to speak directly to that scar. We want to let them understand that we understand it. We recognize it. We know it is painful. And we can do better together. We're not going to mock it. We're not going to mock them and belittle them and their aspirations and their efforts. Omoyele Sowore has been very clear about that. It is a united country that we're all building. The war was an unfortunate expression in our history. We are now all brothers and sisters. And the task of uniting the country so that we can move forward is one we're going to take very seriously. And in doing that, we're going to bring everybody to the table, give everyone a sense of belonging so that they will again have pride in their membership of the Nigerian state.
All right. So you said something that is very, very primary, that if the Nigerian state recognized every region and had a policy of inclusion, there wouldn't even be this problem of agitation in the first place. And Omoyele Sowore, not just by saying it, he's the only presidential candidate who is not shy about standing for the rights of people. And like you rightly said, he was there at Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's trials in Abuja. He went and fought for the followers of Igboho's people to be released. He identified with the Shiites through their struggle. So he's the one person who has identified himself with anybody who is battling the states for their protection of their human rights and their rights to existence and association. So that is well established. Now, you talked about education, and our education is messed up. Our children are at home right now, not going to school, not of their own doing, but because of the ASU strike. And this also borders on the welfare of the average Nigerian worker. That is a very big issue. What is the plans of AAC, Omoyele Sowore, and his vice presidential candidates, whom we're going to talk a little bit about before we close? What are their plans to address the welfare situation of the average Nigerian worker? I know when Sowore talked about 100,000 so many years ago, people are like, can you imagine? Like, go pay them 1 million now. Imagine 100,000. Now, 100,000 doesn't even mean anything anymore.
Well, it's a good thing you mentioned it, because in 2019, we proposed that. They ridiculed it. And why did they ridicule it? Because, again, you have to be very careful when you get these funny reactions. There's a tendency to think that the vocal minority driving the agenda of the elite represent the views of the Nigerian people. Because, I mean, naturally, if you are a worker and the government promises to pay you 100,000, you would not oppose it. You would, first of all, want to understand, are you going to really do this? Please show me how you're going to do it. Now, for those who are, it's not possible. These are political operatives who have been constantly employed to deceive the Nigerian people into thinking that their suffering is insurmountable, that their natural place is to earn 30,000 naira minimum wage, which is not even being paid promptly by many state governments. That giving them 100,000 is such a big deal. It is not. And as I said in other fora, events since we made that promise has shown that, look, that was even the least we could have done, because the humongous amounts of money civil servants have been looting from the treasury, and the state still hasn't fallen, shows that we could have very conveniently paid our workers 100,000 naira, improve their living standards, help them to reinject that money into the economy, increase our people's purchasing power, create jobs, enhance living standards, and generally increase their well-being, make our people happier. It wasn't going to take rocket science for us to do that. Those who always come to argue, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? We also explained how we're going to do that. We told them that so much is being lost. Look, let me take this opportunity to explain this, please. Nigeria is a resource state. Resource states, I mean, in other words, you could call it the petrol state, because the dominant resource here is petrol. Now, resource states tend to do very badly in a democracy, especially when that democracy is young. And this, according to a study by the Oxford professor Paul Collier. Collier actually, ran certain models which showed that in a rent extracting environment like Nigeria, the best elements will not be drawn to politics. The best elements whose intention is altruism, public service, will not be drawn to politics. The likeliest characters to dominate the political terrain are the society's most crooked. That was Collier's finding. And you see that because Collier wrote his book way before Nigeria's transition to democracy. But you see that it was almost like Collier was studying the Nigerian state while making this pronouncement. Because most of the characters who parade themselves as leaders across Nigeria are essentially, I mean, can fit Collier's description. Let me not go too harsh on them right now. They can fit Collier's description. So that is the first problem you have in Nigeria. Now, because of the fact that resource states struggle with young, democratic arrangements, that struggle becomes even more intense when they have to contend with, a multiplicity of ethnic groups, ethnic representations. Now, the inevitable outcome, according to Collier's study, is what we call patronage politics. Patronage politics. The politicians take the public money. They don't deliver public good, but they can welfareize specific individuals. And that's why when you listen to supporters of the APC presidential candidate, you hear, Tinubu do this for me. Tinubu help me bury my mama. Tinubu provide transfer to Tego Hospital. Tinubu attend my papa burial. Tinubu give me scholarship. Not the government under Tinubu build schools, transformed society, provided jobs. It is Tinubu gave me this. Tinubu gave. That is to Collier's point. Now, that primary character of the Nigerian society is itself a fundamental weakness which we must then address. And how do you address it so that you can help workers? How you address it is you have to institute a template that makes political office unattractive. We cannot allow politicians in the Senate, in the House of Reps, to have literally a blank check. Fix how much money they want to collect per time, give our people 30,000 and make away with as much as $13,000 per month by some estimates. The highest paid legislators anywhere in the world, not even the United States, the world's largest economy. They're the highest paid. And that is because of that rentier state of the economy, that patronage policy, because they have to gather all that resources to enable them buy loyalties, pay thugs, in order to help them either retain power or at least survive in one way or the other within the political environment. When we dismantle the system and we fix institutions that will hold over time, politics will become less attractive. We're going to plug every hole for corruption, and we're going to draw the resources that have been leaked through those avenues and channel them into a massive developmental drive, which the Nigerian people have never seen since the creation of the Nigerian state. We believe that pouring these humongous resources, literally, just think of how much is stolen. Just think about it. I'll just give you some numbers. Every year, we are losing, I think since 2015, but a little earlier than that, but it became worse after the APC came into power. We've been losing 73 million barrels of oil annually. Now, that translates to about $7.3 billion, which, if you were to do your Naira conversion, that gives you more than 3 trillion Naira. That is oil leakage, and that is the one captured, right? You heard the interview from the chief of the Nigerian Navy, the chief of naval staff, who disclosed that the oil theft that is now being put at about 80% of our total product being stolen is not conducted by petty thieves and ragtag oil smugglers. These are institutional criminals within establishments like the NNPC and the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Company in Bonny. Now, if a state is losing 80% of It's oil production. And we have not collapsed. Remember, we haven't collapsed yet.
Sure.
Our debt to GDP is horrible. It's looking very, very bad. We are approaching the precipice, but we have not fallen. And these guys have been stealing this for many years. Think about what will happen if we crush that stealing, revert that resources, and pump it into the Nigerian people. We are not only going to be paying 100,000 for minimum wage, to workers. Our lecturers will be well remunerated. We're going to transform our educational institutions, build some of the best laboratories you are going to see anywhere in the world. We're going to build, world-class hospitals. Some of the best, in fact, people are going to be coming to Nigeria for medical tourism. Because we have pride, Dr. Chidi. We are very, very proud people. We don't believe that our people should be looking towards any other people as if we are substandard. We don't believe that a Nigerian president should go abroad for treatment. It is a disrespect. The people governing us have an inferiority complex. They don't realize their own value and the value of the people they govern. We are determined to change that. We're going to create a Nigeria that our people are going to be very proud of. And the only way we're going to do that is to channel our humongous resources to make our country a massive developmental site. And we're going to be using Nigerian energy. Of course, we're going to take foreign expertise when necessary for technology that we don't already have. But we believe that when we address the problem with our curriculum, when we unleash the creative potential of our people using laboratories and manufacturing centers across the length and breadth of our nation, we think our engineers will spring to life. We see what they do when they get to the West. They are not substandard. Our medical doctors are some of the best in the world. As of this morning, I think the Nigerian Medical Association was saying that the UK takes 4 out of every 10 doctors we produce. So it means that they are good. If they are good enough for the UK, I mean, there's certainly something good there. They are going. The developmental drive we're launching will be integrative of all of this local talent. Because again, only us can drive our development. The Chinese are not going to build you rail systems better than the rail systems in China. Just so you know. In the global system, in my study of international politics, states are in a constant competition. And that is why it is ludicrous. It's laughable when our leaders go cap in hand, begging other countries for one favor or the other. Just like individuals who are competing. No individual is going to give you a template to help you outdo them. States must key into those systems what will benefit them themselves. The best developmental models which we can use to fix our country is going to come from us. And that's why for us in the African Action Congress, we feel that we are proud enough, we are confident enough, we are good enough to evolve a uniquely Nigerian solution to Nigeria's problems. So we'll take care of our workers, like I said, we'll implement that minimum wage. We're going to institute their pension fund. Nobody's going to touch it. There'll be no Abdul Rashid Maina or some other characters who will play Kalu Kalu with their savings. That's not going to happen, We're also going to ensure that the right to work is protected. Unemployment is actually going to be frowned at. Look, you know what it means to deny a man the means to put food on his table, the dignity to protect himself and his family. We are going to so transform the Nigerian society with the economic templates that we have, which has been tested anyway. All right. I mean, if you go back to right after the depression here in the United States, when FDR implemented the massive, public investment project, he turned the United States into a massive construction site. If you weren't planting flowers, you were planting trees. If you weren't planting trees, you were building roads. If you weren't building roads, you were building bridges. And while he was accused of socialism and all of that and communism, the implication is that from those direct interventions, social security, the American social security system was born. The U.S. economy was transformed. Those who returned from the Second World War benefited from the GI Bill, which produced what is now known in America as the Great Generation, the generation that moved faster in terms of development and progress than all the others. That is our greatest evidence that investment in your citizens pays. It doesn't matter what they tell you. It doesn't matter what the World Bank says or what the IMF says. We know that investment in our citizens will pay, and we're going to make that investment. We will.
And yet, you see, from listening to you, it is very, very, very clear. I was going to ask you this question, but there's no need. Listening to you and the plans that AAC has, it is not surprising why people will be scared of AAC. People who are outsiders, external forces, who are engaged in gouging the Nigerian economy, in colluding with Nigerians to rape our economy. They're not going to like AAC.
They will not.
They will not. When you have plans, I've not heard you. 90% of the times you were propounding any solution, you didn't say we will, you always say our people. It was always indigenous. Looking at, and with pride. We will do our own thing. We will cultivate our own thing. We have what it takes. We train our engineers. We have doctors. It is from within. If AAC gets on the platform and wins, honestly speaking, it looks like Nigeria will turn inside, will look inside, and a lot of people who are customers of the government,
they'll be out of work.
Bad market for them now. They'll be out of work. So why would they allow? I was going to ask you why Omoyele Sowore is usually sidelined when it comes to debates, but now I see why.
That's why.
Now I see why. Because he is going to come and say things that will paralyze the activities of all of these people. He's going to retire the old folks. He's going to retire the old system. He's going to retire all the people who benefited from all the tra-tra, because he's going to open the eyes of the people. He's going to take the power and give it back to the people. And whenever the people wake up and they see that this thing belongs to them, matter don't finish now.
Matter don't finish without water don't pass, Gary.
So, my brother, I really, really appreciate you. You are the right person for the job. If this was an interview, you would guys, please comment on the comment section what you think about the spokesperson. For those of you that are coming right now, we're having this interview with Onyinye GANDHI, who is the spokesperson of the Omoyele Sowore Magashi campaign, and he's been here for almost 2 hours selling his candidate. And for me, I think he did an excellent job. He actually far exceeded my expectation, and I'm proud. I am proud that I belong to a movement with somebody like Onyinye, because what I see here is class. What I see here is intelligence. What I see here is total packaging. And still, I see that area boy element. Nothing. It's just like it's something that it still retains the originality there. And this is what
you know the live body. You know the live body.
Still
there.
Everything there. Anyhow, you cut him low, high, every left, right.
Anywhere you go,
anywhere he days, lawyer. With all this, he's still get a trained lawyer.
Anywhere you do, we'll meet you there. Any star you bring, we'll show you. We'll do there. Not be today, Nyash get party.
Onye, one last word for our teaming supporters, for those who are getting ready for the campaign season, and those who are really, really activated and empowered to come on this journey with the African Action Congress and our presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore and his VP Magashi.
Yes, please. My compatriots. For those of you who have found time to join us, I thank you, and I appreciate the time and the attention that you've given us. Let me be very clear. Our country is in very deep trouble. Everybody knows that, and everybody agrees. As a matter of fact, since 1960, we've been laboring to build a nation. We don't have a nation yet. We just have a geopolitical space where all of us are trudging along, patching along and trying to make it work. Now, what we at the African Action Congress propose and what we are going to do when we come in is to move the country from being a mere geographical expression, as the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory said, into an actual nation. We want to move the country into a position where your Nigerianness becomes more expressive. And of course, this has to be, complete, but of your own volition, you will see what your nation has done for you. And your sense of pride, your sense of belonging will be triggered. That is what we propose to do. We want to do away completely with the past, with the old, the parts that have brought us disgrace, that have made us objects of scorn within the international community. Our boys who are gifted in, cyber technology are now branded Yahoo boys because their nation has not provided for them the tools to transform those remarkable skills, excellent skills for the current age, into something more creative. Those individuals should be helping us. These are young boys who are moving up with laptops and breaking codes and doing all these steps will be helping us in our fight against corruption. They're not going to be in some room somewhere trying to scam people. Their country is going to put to use their talent, all right, make them great people who will help to build a society that every Black person will be proud of. We're going to transform our country by completely extinguishing every expression of corruption. Your politicians are not going to earn more than your lecturers. That is an anomaly. That is an aberration. The workers who produce the largest portion of society's wealth will get the benefits of their labor. The politician is not going to be king. When you elect him, he's not going to sit atop you and then hand out crumbs to you after collecting the premium. No, your resources will belong to you. We will make investment in education to train your children so that they can build for you a country that will be safe, prosperous, and secure. We are going to make sure that every Nigerian goes to bed with both of their eyes closed. The terrorists who are disturbing you today, to paraphrase the Bible, you will see them no more because we're going to chase them back to where they came from. Forget that. Forget all those rubbish. Forget that thing. They are not tough. Somebody is pampering them. There are certain persons who don't want to give them the serious tastes of Nigerian justice. We're going to give them that justice. We're going to protect Nigerian territory. We're going to build for you, in partnership with you, a nation that you'll be proud of. The only candidate specially equipped to deliver on this is Omoyele Sowore. He has a track record. He's an innovator. He's a dogged fighter. And he is a principled human being. A vote for him is a vote for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother, comrade Onyinye Gandhi. What a very excellent way to wrap up this interview. You really set the bar very high, because I've heard other people who were representing candidates try so much to sell their candidate, but you just kept on pouring out points upon points upon points, and we never even went through the manifesto.
We didn't touch that part.
No,
we'll come back again.
Yes, I'm pleading with you that you would have another time to come back to us so that we can take the manifesto of AAC one step at a time and be able to get down to the nitty-gritty of it and explain to the people. But thank you so much for coming. It's my pleasure, and I really commend you for the good job you're doing, and I wish you more success as you help us sell our candidate and our party to the whole world. Thank you so much, Gandhi.
The pleasure is mine. I thank you for having me, Dr. Chidi. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So everybody, that was Onyinye Gandhi, the spokesperson of the African Action Congress presidential candidate. Sorry, please. The spokesperson of the African Action Congress presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore and his vice presidential candidate Magashi. This was their spokesperson, and I think he did an excellent job. He didn't have to write any points. I did not send him any questions before this interview. You know how we do our things. Our things are real here because I needed to hear for myself whether he was qualified for the job. And so I was going to throw the questions at him and let him deal with it. And for every question that I threw at him, I've tried him, I tested him. We started with big grammar. Even when I tried to floor him, I tried to shake him by breaking the thing down to, like basic pidgin. The guy was holding his ground, tough. He is what we are made of. It's the perfect person for the job. And I think Omoyele Sowore made a very good choice in having him be the spokesperson. Thank you so much for joining in. If you are listening to me right now and you have not subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe and leave us a comment. Those of you on my page on Facebook, those of you on Worship Media page, those of you on Take It Back Movement, those of you on Revolution Now listening, those of you on Tim Shore's page, those of you on LinkedIn, those of you on Worship Media, YouTube, those of you on TIB Global TV and the Take It Back Television, wherever you are watching us from right now, please go ahead and leave us a comment, and we would make sure that we forward your suggestions to the Team Sowore Magashi campaign team. That's all we have for you today. Until we get to you next time, on behalf of Dr. Erica, every member of our crew, I want to wish you the best of your day, and please take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.